Let's solve today's LeetCode problem, Jump Game 3. It's in the series of other jump game problems, and if you haven't got a chance to solve them, you could probably take a look at Jump Game 1 and Jump Game 2. This is a medium level problem, and let us see what the problem says. So we are given with a non-negative list of integers, that's an array. And we are initially positioned at start of the array. There are two possible jumps at any index. So we could be positioned here, and we can look at the value of this current index. So at index I, the value is going to be array of index of I. So from this position, we can either jump to ARR of I plus ARR I, that is whatever the value is, we add that value to the index, and that is going to be our new index position. So we can either jump here, or we can otherwise jump to I minus ARR of I index position. So let us say the value is 2 here and our current index is 3. So one possible location would be 3 plus 2, and that would make it 5. So the next position could be 5, or the other position could be negative of the value. So we have to check if we can reach any index with value 0. So let us say that in this process, while we are checking it and then going to the next box, we reach a box which contains a value that is 0. That's when we have to stop, and that's when we have to return true. So this is the question, and let us see how we can go about it. Let's take an example. So this is the array that we are given with. It contains integers 4, 2, 3, 0, 3, 1, 2. And we have to figure out how to solve this. So first of all, let us mark these indices. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is given in the question that the start pointer is this one, 5. So we have to start from 5, and we have to look for a position in this array, so that when we start from here and then follow this path, we should reach a point where the value contained is going to be 0. So we can see 0. And how these boxes are connected, let me remind you again. Take an example of 0. So at 0, the value contained is 4. That means from here we can either jump to 0 plus 4 index, or 0 minus 4 index. Now 0 minus 4 is outside the boundary of this array, so we cannot go there, but we can obviously go to 0 plus 4. So let's see 0 plus 4, and the value contained here is 3. Now from this position, where can we go? It could be 4 minus 3 or 4 plus 3. Now you can see 4 plus 3 again is going to be outside the boundary of this array. 4 plus 3 is 7, and there are only indexes until 6 here. So we cannot go to 4 plus 3. But what about 4 minus 3? Let us see. 4 minus 3. 1, 2, 3. So yes, we can reach this point. Now from here, we try to see where can we go. Again, 1 minus 2 is outside the boundary of this array. We cannot go there. 1 plus 2 is going to be 3, and 3 contains an element that is 0. So this is where our search ends, and this is exactly what the question was asking as well. So we have reached a place that contains 0 as the value, so we return true from here, and that's where the question is solved. But this was slightly easy. What if there was a condition where 0 could not be found in such a way? Then we would return false. Can you see a pattern here? This looks pretty much like a graph where each index denotes a node, and every index is related to another index, and the condition is if the value of the value that is contained at this index, so you add index number with that value, and whatever the number is, it is going to be the next node that this index node is connected with. Let us see. So it is exactly the same array that was there, and this time I have drawn a graph. So each node denotes an index there, and according to the value that is contained in the array, some node would be connected to, each node would be connected to another node. If the value contained is 0, then there won't be any outgoing edge from this node to another one. So again, let us see 0. We are here. 0 is connected to 4 because the value contained in 0 was 4, and as we discussed earlier, 0 plus 4 is 4. So we reach here. Then we reach 4 index. At 4, we can go to 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So we reach here. Now we go to index 1 and see what is contained there. It is 2. 1 minus 2 wasn't possible if you remember, but 1 plus 2 was always possible, and we go to 3. And 3 is where the value contained is going to be 0. So we end our search here. But this was just by chance that we started from 0. But if you remember the question was saying we have to start from start, the given start pointer. So we need to start our search from 5 on the place of 0 or 1 or 2 or any other. So let us see how do we do that with start. We are at 5 right now. This is 5. 5 plus 1 is 2. 5 plus 1 is 6. So we can either go to 6 or we can go to 4 because 5 minus 1 is 4. So you can see from the graph at 6 there is no outgoing edge. So let us see the path where it leads us. We go to 4, and at 4 there are two options. Either we can go to 4 plus 3 or 4 minus 3. If you remember, this is where the edge coming from 0 also merged. So from 4 we can go to 1, and then from 1 we can go to 3, and that is the end. That is exactly where the question ends. That is exactly what the question was asking. Now it is possible, as I said, there could be a 0 which is not a part of this graph. It could be outside this graph. So which means there is a possibility that this array could not be depicting just one graph, but two graphs, or you could say one graph with different two separate connected components. Two connected components which are not connected to each other, and that is possible. You can see how. So in this graph or in this array, I've made only two changes. On the place of 0, I've put 1, and here I've added 3 more indices, 7, 8 and 9, which contain 1, 2 and 0. Now the graph changes. You can see these thick yellow arrows, how they show the current condition. So from 3 earlier, we did not have any outgoing edges. Now we have 2 outgoing edges, and one is going to 2 and the other one is going to 4 because 3 has 1 inside. So 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 plus 1 is 4. What about 7? So 7 has 1 inside. So from 7 we can go to either 6 or we can go to 8. Then about 8 has 2 inside. So from 8 we can either go to 8 minus 2, that is 6. And did I not show it here? Yeah, I did not. So I could quickly do that. Eight to 6, and then we reach 9. So 9 has no incoming edge, which means the search had already ended right before it, and we did not find any 0. If we did not find any 0, we return false. That's the question solved again. So I think it is quite intuitively visible that this is a depth first search or a breadth first search based solution. Let us try depth first search here. It is possible with both. You can try BFS on your own. Let us see the DFS algorithm here. So the very first thing that we do in any DFS algorithm, it's a recursive algorithm, right? So we first of all write down the termination conditions. And what are the termination conditions here? We pass an index, and first of all we see if the index given is outside array boundary, or whether it is inside the array boundary. We continue only if it is inside the array boundary. So you would remember that there were cases where 0 minus 4 was outside the array boundary. So this is going to take care of that condition. Then we see if the index is already visited or not. So it is not visible here, but we are going to keep a set which is going to be visited, and every time we visit a node, we are going to mark that node as visited. So we'll be passing the index of that node, and we'll just keep that memory. So if the node is already visited, we return false. Why? Because if the node is already visited and if it had contained 0, then we would have already returned true from there. But the fact that we have reached this point again, that means that box doesn't contain our desired value. So we return false from here. Then the next step, this is the final or the desired outcome, where we see if the value contained inside any array is going to be 0, then we return true. Now about the process step, there we mark the index as visited, and then we also take the current value, that is the current value that is contained inside the current index. So that is array index. And then finally we branch out and call the recursive method once again, and there are going to be two calls here, one with plus, another one with minus. And if the plus call returns true, then we would not need to go to this branch. If this one returns false, only in that case we'll go here and we'll try the minus one. And I think that is quite easy. Now we can implement it in terms of code as well. Should not be difficult. Let us see. So first of all, let us create a visited marker, and the function, let's call it DFS visit, and it'll be we'll be passing an index parameter here, and finally whatever the value this function will return, that will be the return of our main function as well. We start with start index. So if you remember, the first few cases were the termination conditions that we had to take care of. So I am going to do if index is less than 0 or index is greater than ARR of greater than equal to ARR or of length, then we return false. The second thing was if it has already been visited. So if visited has, let me just make it a set, I think that will be easier. So if visited has the current index, that means we can return false. If both are not true, then we should check if it contains our desired value, and that is going to be 0, right? So we return true here. Now the process step where we mark the current node as visited. So visited.add index, we have marked it as visited. Now we just need to go further and branch out to the two conditions that we had. So let current index is equal to current value is equal to ARR of index, and then go to the final recursive condition where we call DFS visit once again with the current index plus the current value. If this doesn't give us the answer, then this will. I think that should do it. Let us try and run this code. Yeah, it is working fine. What about example test cases? It works. Let me submit it. Yep, this works well. So thanks a lot for watching this video.